The store was silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that made even the air feel nervous. The Single Dad CEO paused at the entrance, confused by the stillness, when suddenly a tiny voice broke through the dim aisles. A trembling voice. A desperate one. He turned, and what he saw made his heart stop cold. A small boy, barefoot, clutching a torn plastic bag, staring up at him with eyes that carried a hunger far deeper than empty stomachs. And then, with a courage far too heavy for someone so small, the boy whispered, "Mommy hasn't eaten. Can you share expired bread?" Before the story begins, like this video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories for more life-changing, emotional stories. The flickering fluorescent lights of the convenience store cast long shadows across the narrow aisles as Adrian Wells, the renowned Single Dad CEO, pushed open the door, hoping to grab a quick snack before heading home to his daughter. His day had been suffocating, filled with back-to-back meetings, conference calls, and the endless pressure of running a massive corporation. His mind was clouded, exhausted, and numb until a soft, whimpering sound pierced the heavy stillness of the store. Adrian turned sharply, his instincts suddenly alert, and saw a small boy barely 7 years old standing near the clearance shelf where expired products were dumped into a dented metal bin. The boy's clothes hung loosely on his frail body, his hair uncombed, his skin pale. He clutched a plastic bag that was nearly empty, except for a small carton of spoiled milk someone must have thrown away. When the boy saw Adrian, he froze, his small fingers tightening around the bag as if it were precious treasure. Adrian stepped closer, unsure of what he was witnessing. The boy swallowed hard, his lips trembling as he looked up with eyes that shimmered with desperation. "Ah, sir," he whispered, voice cracking. "Mommy hasn't eaten. Can you share expired bread?" Adrian felt the words hit him like a punch, knocking the breath from his chest. This child, this tiny, vulnerable child, was begging not for toys, not for candy, not even for himself, but for his starving mother. Adrian knelt down gently. "Where is your mom?" he asked softly. Through the window, Adrian spotted a woman slumped against the wall, her head resting on her knees, her thin arms wrapped around her stomach. She looked weak, too weak to stand, and her clothes were worn as if washed too many times in too little water. Something inside Adrian cracked. Cool. He couldn't ignore them. "What's your name, buddy?" he asked. "Liam," the boy replied. "A mom said not to ask strangers for food, but she fainted today, and she didn't wake up for a long time. I got scared." His voice trembled, tears gathering in his lashes, but he wiped them quickly as if he was used to being strong. Adrian stood, took Liam's hand, and walked him to the counter. "We're not buying expired bread," he said firmly. The cashier gave Liam a look of sympathy, the kind that meant this wasn't their first time seeing him scavenging. "Ring up everything fresh," Adrian instructed. "A bread, fruits, milk, anything good." Liam panicked, tugging Adrian's sleeve. "We can't piestas day." Adrian knelt again, meeting the boy's fearful eyes. "You don't need to pay," he whispered. "I'll take care of everything. Let me help." Liam stared at him, confused, as if kindness was something foreign, something dangerous. Slowly, he nodded, his small chest rising and falling quickly. Once the bags were full, Adrian walked outside with Liam, the cold night air brushing against their skin. The woman, Liam's mother, opened her eyes weakly when she heard footsteps, but she didn't have the strength to stand. "Ma." Adrian said softly, kneeling beside her. Her eyes widened with embarrassment when she saw the bags of food. "We can't accept. We don't take charity." She tried to push the bags away, but her hands were shaking. Adrian gently held her wrist, not forcefully but firmly enough to show sincerity. "Back in charity," he said. "You're accepting humanity," he said. "You're accepting humanity." Her eyes filled with tears, and she trembled as Liam crawled into her lap, clutching her tightly. She pressed a weak kiss to his forehead, then looked at Adrian with a mixture of shame, gratitude, and disbelief. Wait. "Why would a man like you help us?" she whispered. Adrian took a slow breath. "Well, because once," he said, staring at the ground, "I was the one begging for help too. And someone gave me a chance." The truth was, years ago, before he became a CEO, Adrian was a young single father struggling to feed his own daughter after his wife passed. He knew the taste of fear, helplessness, and hunger, and he would never forget it. The night deepened as Adrian helped the fragile young mother, whose name he later learned was Emily, lean against the warm hood of his car while Liam hovered nervously beside her. She was dizzy, severely undernourished, and trembling from exhaustion. Adrian opened a bottle of water and passed it to her, watching carefully to make sure she could swallow. Emily tried to apologize repeatedly, her voice frail as she explained how she had lost her job months ago, how rent had drained the last of her savings, and how she survived by skipping meals so Liam could have whatever scraps she found. The more she spoke, the more Adrian's heart twisted. He saw so much of his past reflected in her, the quiet suffering, the desperate attempts to look strong for a child, the exhaustion of fighting a battle no one else saw. Liam stood close, one hand gripping her shirt, as if afraid she would fade away if he let go. Adrian couldn't bear the sight. He loaded the fresh groceries into his car and looked at Emily seriously. "You're coming with me," he said. Emily's eyes widened in fear. No, we can't. You don't know us. I can't let Liam go with a stranger." Adrian nodded, understanding her panic. "You're right to protect him. But I'm not taking him anywhere without you. I just want you both safe. My daughter is at home with her babysitter. You can stay the night, rest, eat, and tomorrow we'll figure out something better." Emily shook her head weakly. "Sure. People like you don't help people like us." Adrian exhaled slowly. "I was people like you once." His honesty disarmed her. After a long silence, she finally nodded. Adrian helped her into the car, buckled Liam beside her, and drove carefully through the quiet streets. At his home, a warm, well-lit house, his daughter Chloe ran to greet him, her curls bouncing as she hugged him tightly. She noticed Liam immediately, her eyes lighting up with curiosity instead of judgment. "Hi, want to see my toys?" she asked cheerfully. Liam hesitated, then followed her, clutching his torn plastic bag until Chloe gently took it and placed it beside her own toys, treating it as something important. Emily nearly broke down watching her son receive kindness he hadn't felt in a long time. Adrian guided Emily to the dining table and prepared a warm meal. When he placed a plate in front of her, she stared at it as if it were a miracle. Her hands shook as she took the first bite, and tears spilled silently down her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered. "I haven't eaten in days." As she ate, Adrian noticed how Liam peeked from the living room every few seconds to make sure she was okay. Adrian sat across from her. "You don't have to live like this anymore," he said softly. "I can help you get back on your feet. A job, a home, stability." Emily shook her head fiercely. "Well, I don't want to be a burden." Adrian leaned closer, his voice gentle. "You're not a burden. You're a mother doing everything to protect her child. That deserves help, not judgment." As the night went on, Liam and Chloe played, their laughter filling the house like a long-lost melody. Emily watched them overwhelmed. When I asked if he could share expired bread, she said quietly, "I never imagined someone would care." Adrian's chest tightened. Liam wasn't asking for bread, he said. He was asking for hope. Emily covered her face, sobbing softly. Adrian didn't touch her, but he let her cry freely, something she probably hadn't allowed herself in months. When they finally settled into the guest room, Adrian tucked Liam in beside his mother. The little boy clutched Adrian's sleeve with sleepy eyes. "Sir, Mommy isn't hungry now," he whispered. "You saved her." Adrian swallowed hard. "No, buddy," he whispered back. "You saved her. You were brave." Liam smiled weakly before drifting to sleep, his tiny hand still resting over Emily's heart. As Adrian stood in the doorway watching them sleep, a realization washed over him like warm sunlight. He wasn't just helping strangers. He was helping the version of himself he once was, the terrified father praying for a miracle. And in doing so, he felt the deep, healing truth of kindness settling inside him. Tomorrow would be different for Emily and Liam. He would make sure of it. A job, a home, a future. They would not go hungry again. They would not be alone again, not while he was alive. If this story touched your heart, like the video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories for more emotional, life-changing stories.